subtract my age. Buy this car to drive to work. Drive to work to pay for this car. Buy this car to drive to work. Drive to work.
Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I'm Jordan, and today I'm here to talk about personality clone of Ted Bundy, David Pakman. That's right. Seems like a psycho to me. But first, please consider donating to Devon's Journey to Recovery. GoFundMe link is down there in the description box. Click that link and donate some money. None of the money goes to us. It's for charity, so please donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery. GoFundMe link down there in the description box. All right. So, hopefully you guys remember when David Pakman made this, this heartfelt video about how he avoids certain topics because he loses money, basically. It amounts to him just losing money. His own fans turn on him, and then at the same time, he's accusing outsiders of coming in and hurting his business. So he said one of the things he talked about avoiding was Tulsi Gabbard because of fanboys, I guess. And she definitely has fanboys, 100%. Tulsi definitely has fanboys, but why would you be afraid of them if you're trying to, help people out with, giving them news to, inform them, things like that, So I don't know why he would avoid certain topics. But apparently he's gone back on that in the sense of he'll only talk about Tulsi Gabbard if it's something disparaging, something that makes her look bad. Then he'll talk about it. Anything positive with her, like a policy proposal or a good idea she says, no coverage of it at all. And then he'll say, well, I don't cover her because she's only at 1%. But if she fucks up, he's right there immediately to cover it. Very weird. He's also, I'm just going to make a prediction now, this dude is going to prop up Elizabeth Warren. 100%. Wait for it. When it comes down to Biden, Bernie, and Warren, and Bernie's a little bit behind, watch him prop up Warren. And he's going to say, this isn't an endorsement. I'm just, trying to be truthful in that psychopathic, way he does things. So, in this clip here, he's going to be talking about, he's going to claim that Tulsi Gabbard attacked Elizabeth Warren. That might be a strong word here, considering what he's done talking about Tulsi Gabbard. So then those would be considered attacks, even though he tells you they're not attacks. So he doesn't understand why the Tulsi sycophants are attacking him. You're like, why are you attacking me? I didn't attack her. But apparently what Tulsi said is an attack. So let's just play the clip, see what happens. That's right, none of it makes sense. You're dealing in a psycho's world right now. Ted Bundy light. Although there might be some dead prostitutes in his trunk somewhere. I'm just throwing that out there. Just saying.
And then really lame and also somewhat funny, she attacked, Tulsi did, Elizabeth Warren, for being unqualified to be president. Take a look at this.
Little disingenuous laughter. That's like, you're criticizing Warren? Just pointing out, little psychopathic movements this guy does this stuff a lot. That's why I'm, Let's play the clip.
So you've been critical of Senator Harris in the past and even went so far as to question whether she was prepared to be commander-in-chief. We now see Senator Warren really rising in the polls. She's first in a lot of national polls and several state polls as well, early state polls. Do you believe that she's prepared to be commander-in-chief?
I haven't seen much come from her in the way of what kind of leadership and decision-making that she would bring to that most important responsibility that the president has as commander-in-chief. And just as a soldier and an American, that's very concerning for me. So, for voters, I think that's an important thing to look out for from everyone who's running for president is what kind of experience do you have in this area? What kind of depth and understanding do you bring to these very nuanced and complex issues with how the United States is relating with other countries? What kind of leadership we're providing in the world, and having the kind of foresight and judgment that we've seen leaders from across both party lines have lacked for far too long, that have brought us to this position where, you know, for all three of us, we've seen our country at war for the vast majority of the years that we've been alive.
Okay, so hopefully you know that I did a video on like a part of that segment, you know, asking the question, will Tulsi go after Elizabeth Warren in the next debates? I did a little video on that. Now, hearing this longer clip here, it sounds like she's talking about foreign policy and commander-in-chief, like the thing that the president has the most control over, which is the military. Oh, what's Tulsi's, you know, platform? The biggest, you know, thing in her platform is foreign policy. What are we doing with our military all around the world? She brings up, you know, I have questions. How's she going to deal with people from other countries? How's she going to deal with the 5-star general walking up to her desk and saying, we need to attack here? Is she just going to say, yep, okay, you're the expert, I don't know? So Tulsi might have that answer for several people. But for a lot of people who call themselves progressives, they would consider foreign policy a major red flag for Elizabeth Warren, with the whole voting for Trump's military budget increase that he didn't ask for, apparently. Her green army, or green new military, that idea. Her dog shit answer on Israel, on the Israel-Palestinian conflict, and the protest that happened that killed, I believe it was like 60 plus people. Her dog shit answer there, to where it's like, oh, you're going to get the same old shit over and over again, which is something Tulsi just brought up, right? We've had presidents from either side of the aisle perpetuating bullshit wars that she served them. Now, let's hear David Pakman scramble around as a psychopath does to reach a different motive that the audience can't quite see. That's what I think's going on. I don't know myself personally, but I just look at the dude and I'm like, oh, you have other motives going on here. Which is why you're talking about Tulsi Gabbard now. Also, calling that an attack is kind of weird. I don't know if that was an attack. Now, if Tulsi was going to attack, I would consider that maybe foreshadowing for an attack. But that's not really an attack. That's just calling it like it is, man. That's just the way it is, as far as how I understand Elizabeth Warren's foreign policy. And that's what that fucking answer sounded like. It sounded like, oh, she's not ready for a foreign policy, or I don't know how she could handle this foreign policy thing. Because I haven't heard many great answers, and none of us really have. I haven't heard anything, really. I should look more into that, actually, but, you know. Let's hear Ted Bundy's answer.
What is Tulsi talking about? And of course,
She's talking about foreign policy.
The necessary, both sides have lacked leadership. Okay, but in very different ways that are not even remotely equal. So,
you sure about that? Because I could have swore George Bush started the Iraq War. Well, the George Bush presidency and his team and shit facilitated the Iraq War. And Obama continued it and expanded it to other countries. The war on terror. That sounds like... And Trump's continuing that. And expanding it. So it's like... Both sides are so different. And I think he's looking for a job. He has to be looking for a job at MSNBC. Or he's doing like a lot of... I went through his video catalog thing. And it's like, I'm noticing the most views he gets are when he's like shitting on Trump. So maybe he's like, fuck, this is my angle. This is my audience. The people who, too lazy to turn the TV on and they want to watch some MSNBC, they can turn on David Pakman. Here's another psycho I can listen to. That's not fair. I don't know if they're all psychos, but he fucking seems like one. Just being real. Like I said, fucking get one of those black lights and look in the trunk of his car or something. Not joking. All right, let's continue.
So here's the deal. First and foremost, for
Here's the
Tulsi to
deal.
attack Elizabeth Warren and say Elizabeth Warren is unqualified to be president, you could generally say we need fewer lawyers and business people and career politicians in government. Instead, we need scientists and, you know, what you could have that general conversation. That's a very good conversation to have. But for Tulsi to say Warren's not qualified, to the extent that being an elected official qualifies you, Tulsi's a member of the House and Warren's a member of the Senate. If you zero that out, then it's a debate. Is Warren's experience with the CFPB, her knowledge of the law as a law professor, her experience teaching school? Tulsi was in the military and was a local Hawaii politician. You can say neither's qualified in the way that we want presidents to be qualified, but for Tulsi to say Warren's not qualified is just a joke when she's the one also running for president, right?
So, yeah, once again, Tulsi's talking about foreign policy and commander-in-chief. She specifically says things like that because she's talking about the fucking military. In which case, she has exemplified that she understands certain things about funding moderate rebels in Syria, funding wars in Yemen, all that shit. Wahhabi, Salafist, Islam. Does Elizabeth Warren know what that is? I might question whether she does. She might have to have a team member go look it up for her. I think Tulsi actually knows these things. And seen us fund these guys. And went to the fucking place. Went to Syria. And understands how they're trying to start a war with Iran. Like, really understand it. Like, see the plan playing out in front of her. She can probably point out what's happening here and there. I don't know if Warren can. I think she might have to look for an advisor to do that for her. Which means, if she was in office, she would wait for a 5-star general to come up to her and say, nothing's going on here. Tulsi tells you about the CIA interacting in these countries. She tells us they lied to us about weapons of mass destruction. I hope Warren said that. I don't even know if Bernie said that. Fuck. So she's clearly talking about the military and military experience in the sense of what they do and what they're capable of, you know, essentially behind the president's back. And yeah, she understands that way, 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 way more than Elizabeth Warren. And probably way more than Bernie Sanders. But, you know, bigger gap between Tulsi and Warren than there is Bernie and Tulsi. So he's going off of who fits the character of president. She's talking about the actual job. That's what he's talking. He's talking about the character of president. She's talking about the actual job. What does the president have the most control over? Or where their power is the most? It's in the fucking military. I would think. Commander-in-chief, I think that's what that means, right? Unless I'm tripping. Someone can correct me in the comment section. So let's give him a couple more seconds. Maybe he'll retract. It's one of those lawyer terms.
But here's the real issue with Tulsi and with other candidates. Let's step back a little bit from Tulsi and make this a bigger thing, because Tulsi's going to be gone soon. She's got no shot at this thing. The cults of personality.
And he's not. Now, I've said that in my last video. I said, I don't know if she has a chance to win, so she might as well just fucking go down swinging, you know? Take whoever out. Take all the corporatists out while she's like, you know, her last hurrah. But I think he says that type of thing in a disparaging way. Like, I think he's saying that to insult her or to, you know, get attention from her fans. I really do believe that. Because he said he hung up on a person who was talking about, hey, man, he was like, I'm not going to, you know, she's only polling at 1% or less than 1%. Why do I care? And he's like, man, you know the polling can be rigged, man. And Pakman's like, oh, okay, that's enough. And he hangs up on him. It's like, David, just tell your audience you want her to not be in the race. Just say that. Be real clear about it. Be blatantly honest. Instead, it's a video saying, I don't want to talk about her. Oh, she did something wrong. I'm going to talk about her. This is a like a vulture fucking, what do they call it? Disaster capitalist type. Waiting for dead bodies to be just laying around unbothered so he can fucking fly above it and fucking fly down and pick at its bones and shit. That's a weak person to do things like that. And that's the place I think he's coming from. Not because he's, evil or anything, but because there's nothing there to be evil or good. It's a robot. It's profit margins. I'm just going to end the video there. I don't think there's much here. Let's play a little more, just in case.
Around some candidates are problematic.
Okay. So I've seen the rest. I'll link the video regardless. And he's going to talk about, here's what happens when when this cult of personality and blah, blah, blah. Even though he could be wrong, but he can always deflect it to that point as a, easy escape route. Like someone could bring a legitimate argument and say, these are just sycophants. So guys, I want 2 things in the comment section if you can help me out here. If you made it this far into the video. One will be, actually just make it one question. Is David Pakman a psychopath? I'm truly asking the question. Is the dude cold inside and is just a facade of a person there, just a robot? Like, I truly asked that question. The only time I've heard him raise his voice was when he was talking about YouTube algorithms screwing him over. He's like, this is horrible. Every time it's just like, la 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 la, my money. So you guys tell me. Alright, that's it. Subscribe if you like. Comment. Agree, disagree. Tell me what you think. Is this dude a psycho? Or do you agree with him? Or do you disagree with me? Or do you, half and half? Please let me know. Link me to stuff to prove your point. Whether you agree with me or not. If you agree with me, link stuff to prove my point. The more information, the better. Don't forget to donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery. GoFundMe link down there in the description box. And with all that said, give this video a thumbs down. Give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in, and then you wanna get out. When you get the money to buy yourself a car.